What's going on, Mullen Automotive fans? Back with another banger video for you all. I know it's Friday. We ready to get the weekend started. But Mullen Automotive has been rolling out some news. Just the other day, we had an 8K that was received, filed through the SEC, that Mullen Automotive will be doing the appeal process to go against that NASDAQ letter for delisting. And remember, Mullen Automotive will pay NASDAQ $20K, so they will handle the decision process of whether Mullen gets suspended or delisted or 180-day calendar days extension, or even another hearing at no additional fees to Mullen Automotive if the NASDAQ can't make a decision. And that only, like I said, buys Mullen more time to get the stock price up. So that 8K on top of today's 8K with British Airways coming with a press release. It's all back to back. Let's get right into the details, because later on in this video, we're going to be following up with Cboe Global Markets, whom haven't been reporting their short volume data on Mullen Automotive since June 30th. So hit that subscribe button and like this video, and let's get it. Mullen stock alert. Mullen receives payment from British Airways. Mullen officially has a new customer in British Airways. British Airways has purchased an unspecified number of Mullen Automotive Campus EV cargo vans. Mullen received the payment on August 31st, although it did not provide a dollar amount. Now, me personally, I've always been bullish on Mullen Automotive's Class 1 vans piloting with these airlines. We got British Airways. We also have LAX, Menzies. Now, we could use a bit more updates more often on these pilot programs with these airlines, but I can tell you that I've had experience with this firsthand as far as knowing how essential these vans, these Class 1 vans, would be to airlines as far as transporting passengers, loading, unloading luggages, or even flight line supervisors that need these vehicles to transit back and forth across flight lines for safety reasons. And the reason I say this because I myself used to work on a naval air station where I took a gas-powered van and did my supervisory rounds across the flight line. But now the vehicles will be electric, which will be more efficient and carbon neutral, especially when they'll have the charging stations right there on the flight line to recharge the batteries of the electric vans. And that is very important because when I was working at that air station, we used to have to leave base with the van just to refill it with gas off of the flight line in order to come back. That's going to slow down operations. Versus Mullen with their EV charging infrastructure partnership with Loop Global, having those charging stations right there on the flight line, you could just recharge and continue operations. Now, this back-to-back news did not help the stock price, but like I told you guys in previous videos, that the manipulation will continue in Mullen Automotive. And like Wes Christian said, this is one of the most manipulated stocks out there in the market. And right here behind me, you have Cboe Global Markets. They are in charge of different exchanges where orders get executed through. You can see the short volume data is not reported. Down here on the red line, number 4 says Cboe stopped publishing short volume on June 30, 2023. And I mentioned that in another video as well. You can see the purple on this chart is Cboe and their short volume report. And if you go over, you'll also see exactly from June 30, there's no more purple. So I did a little bit more digging on Cboe Global Markets. And as you can see up here, these are the exchanges that Cboe is in charge of: BZX, BYX, and EDGX and EDGA. And this is the current most actively traded securities on the Cboe exchanges. And BYXE Equities is the exchange that Cboe is using to trade Mullen Automotive shares. On your left side of the screen, you'll see the symbol where the tickers will be, and then right beside it, the shares. Just today, as you can see, Mullen at number 24, 333,000 shares. I did catch Financial Journey's video where he was talking about what shorts are doing, and he noticed that they increased a little over 300,000 shares. And seeing that number up there with Cboe is very interesting after watching. Now, on Cboe's platform, they also have what's called a maker opportunity, aka market maker opportunity. And we'll go through the numbers here shortly. But you can see down here on your left that Mullen Automotive is here with 3 million shares missed liquidity. Now, market makers, they are supposed to provide liquidity to the market. When a stock is trading flat, there's no one really trading, that's when they put shares into the market, making high volume on the play. And if you notice today that Mullen's volume was extremely low, good on you, because it probably has something to do with the market maker not being able to provide liquidity. I'll get into more detail about market makers here shortly, but if you can see this number up here where Mullen is highlighted, that last number 373.79, that has to do with this bottom text here that says liquidity opportunity. And the liquidity opportunity is the percentage of the average daily volume missed, exhausted, or routed, and the higher the percentage, the larger the market making opportunity. Now, we see a few of those companies in the thousands of percent, but 373% is still high for Mullen Automotive. And back to the red highlighted, that 3 million for Mullen Automotive is the missed liquidity, which is the measure for the last week of the average daily volume requested at a price equal or better than the national bid, where we had no liquidity. So it's saying for the week of August 31st to September 7th, there was a time where there were no liquidity available for Mullen Automotive. When it comes to not having liquidity or being able to provide liquidity as a market maker, that's when orders start to get rerouted. Just like you see here on your left, routed liquidity. This number represents for the last week the average daily volume on orders which were routed and filled on another venue. Market makers have to be able to provide liquidity to the market to execute everyday trades. But there's been so much corruption with market makers and these brokerage firms. They're just exposing themselves every day. Market makers are typically large banks or financial institutions. They help to ensure there's enough liquidity in the markets, meaning there's enough volume of trading so trades can be done seamlessly. Without market makers, there would likely be little liquidity. In other words, investors who want to sell securities would be unable to unwind their positions due to lack of buyers in the market. Market makers are useful because they are always ready to buy and sell as long as the investor is willing to pay the specific price. Market makers essentially act as wholesalers by buying and selling securities to satisfy the market, the prices they set to reflect supply and demand. Then right here it says sometimes a market maker is also a broker, which can create an incentive for a broker to recommend securities for which the firm also makes a market. Investors should thus perform due diligence to make sure there is a clear separation between a broker and a market maker. Wes Christian's on it. I don't have to say any more about that. Hey, David, you need to buy more shares. I'm gone.